for a few people to join. This is going to be a panel discussion today about some late breaking news. So I'll definitely invite people to come and join in. I'll just set up the rendezvous in the background while we wait for a few people to join. So the story that we're going to talk about today is the phishing drone story that people have seen before. There was a guy that went and flew his drone and he had someone down below, hanging below the drone. So that's the story that we're going to talk about. And in particular, there's a search warrant being executed as we speak today. So again, let's wait a little while for a few people to join. While we're waiting for that, I'll see if I can get that video up as well. That would be probably helpful. That was in this folder here. So let's play that clip now. Here we go. So this is the clip.
What the hell? Holy shit!
So this is the clip that we're going to talk about today. So this is the clip we're going to talk about. I'll just let it play through. Certainly CASA and the Australian Federal Police are right now getting involved in this story as we speak. Can I ask those people watching to share out the link to this video via your social media channels? We'll invite as many people as possible to come in and be part of the panel in a few moments.
I can say is thanks to everyone and yibbida yibbida. That's all, folks.
Okay, so that was the video that we're talking about today. Now, before I get started, I will ask people again. Someone said no video, you're dark, Greg. Is there no video coming out? I'm just reading the chat. I'll get people to confirm that in a couple of moments. So this story is about the guy that went and did the phishing drone thing. And today, as we speak, the Australian Federal Police and CASA are actually at the property of at least one of the people involved, plus they're also at the property of their parents, and they're executing a raid or a search warrant, whatever you want to call it today. Now, I will say that I have seen a copy of this document, but I don't want to share that at this time. I want him to have a chance to process the information and make sure that he's okay with what gets shared. But I have had a look at the document, and certainly this is an Australian warrant that's been executed. Let me get it back on my screen here locally. The Commonwealth of Australia have issued an offence-related warrant, and certainly it was a Civil Aviation Order Act warrant and order that's been issued. So here's what we're going to do. I can't talk too much. I don't want to talk about what's in the content of the warrant until I get authority to do that from the person that shared that with me, but I will go and share. Let me do this one, see if I can open that image, save to downloads. I got a photograph of the raid happening in progress right now. Geeksvana, how you doing? I'll get you to come on because I think this is right up your alley. Desktop, and I'll save that file. Add media file. Desktop, and it's called RAID. There we go. So this is a picture of what's happening or has happened just in the last little while of people arriving to conduct this search warrant. Now, all I know is that the warrant is definitely happening, and it's relating to that particular video that we shared just a moment. So let's go and open the Rendezvous dashboard. I'm going to invite a couple of people to come in and have a panel discussion with us. So let's do that now. Start a session. There we go. So anyone who wants to come in and chat, love to have you as part of a panel. So let's again talk about, while we're waiting for a few people to join, what is it that happened? Okay, so on the video, we saw there was a drone. We saw that there was a person suspended beneath the drone. But the first question I have to ask is it a drone? When you've got a remotely piloted aircraft system, the whole difference between a drone and an aircraft, what is the difference between a drone and an aircraft? Or in Australian legislation, it's the remotely piloted aircraft systems. And one of the differences is that it's remotely piloted. Now, I don't know who was piloting that aircraft, and we certainly can't see that from the video. I can see Lloyd is trying to join, but it's failing Lloyd, so I'll get you to try again in just a moment. There's no camera, so I'll just disconnect you and you can come back. It needs to be remotely piloted, and traditionally they were originally called unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. It was the common term for drones. So the whole concept was that it was a remotely piloted unmanned aerial vehicle. But this thing was obviously piloted. It had someone in there, right? And right now, his house is being raided. What is the charge? Again, I don't want to talk too much about what the charges are and all that kind of stuff. Can I show the video again? I was late from Geeksvana. Let me do that right now. Okay. Let me find it first. Above and beyond, I'll just add you in there. I'll leave you in the green room for a couple of moments. I've just got to get that video back because a couple of people have asked to have a look at it again. Let's do that now.
What the hell? Holy shit!
Reckless operation of an RPA says drone down productions. Is it reckless if you take appropriate safety precautions? Let me ask this question. An experimental aircraft. We've seen people with those, whippersnippers on their back flying around before. So there's kind of no difference there really, in my mind anyway. Lloyd is trying to get back in again. I think he's dark again. I've got no picture for Lloyd.
Not bad, good choice.
All I can say is thanks to everyone and yibbity yibbida. That's all, folks.
Okay. So an unlicensed fishing vessel. I love that comment. I'm just trying to put together a shot right now as we speak, so just give me a couple of moments. Let's see, 45%, 44%. And we'll give that one 44 as well. And we've got 3 people in. Unlicensed fishing vessel is what Thunderbird is saying, which is, I think, not too far off.
Yeah, that's what they'll get him on.
Not in Australia.
Flying an unlicensed fishing vessel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how's it different from paragliding?
That's exactly what my wife asked. She says, why can they do that? Because paragliding, and my wife doesn't even keep up with this stuff. She says, but they do paragliding all the time. What rules has he broken?
Yeah, look, paramotors, people putting a big whippersnipper on their back, for lack of a better description, then they're going flying over properties and all around the place. I haven't done any research into how much of it there is in Australia, but certainly there is an experimental aircraft category in Australia.
Right.
And the very first time I saw that particular video, I thought to myself, that is cool. Is it a drone? Is it an experimental category? Is it being done in a safe manner? And Drone Shots are saying there is no pilot. There's no pilot license.
No pilot license. Yeah.
Well, there's 2 things there. Do you have a license? I don't know. I don't know if he has or hasn't, and I'm not going to comment on that. But do you need a license when you're doing experimental category stuff anyway? I don't know enough about this part of the regulations. But from what I gather, let's go and put that picture up again, first of all. So the raid that's currently in place.
What would the raid be based on? That's what.
Who was in control of the aircraft? Yeah, look, it's a very good question. And I think in the video, it is unclear looking at the video as to who was in control of the aircraft. They don't specifically show that. Now, if I use as an example the recent new product, the Skydio 2, you've got that little remote that can be used as a GPS tracker, and people are telling me it can also be used to land the aircraft. And theoretically, according to those people that have been commentating on that gives you enough capability to land that aircraft, and therefore You're the pilot in command. You have control. Do you have enough control? That's another question. Now, if I was using this particular aircraft as an example, I don't know what's in his hand. I can't see it. But hypothetically, if he's got a panic button or something that he can use to have the aircraft return home and land safely, he is then the pilot in command and he is a passenger of the aircraft, which means it's not a drone. But from what I gather, it's being described as a drone with cargo. So let me go and have a look at some of the things that I can look at and that I can share and say.
Well,
Yeah, because this is a stretch now.
yeah.
If you're going to turn around and say it's carrying cargo, and then that would classify it differently, right?
Yeah. So the paperwork, first of all, the paperwork was issued to one of the people that was involved in this operation, plus their parents, so their parents' house as well, is what I'm led to believe. And this is because of offences. Let me see what I can say. The Civil Aviation Act is what's being listed, and the warrant is being issued because of reasonably suspected of having committed offences stated in the warrant. So that's the order on the front. Then the actual offence-related warrant, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but the Civil Aviation Act 1988, Division 3, General Offences in relation to aircraft. Now,
what country was he flying in? Can you clarify that?
Australia,
All right.
CASA. That's why I'm talking about it.
So you know your rules, and how is it breaking them?
Yeah. So I'm going to go and do some more digging, but I wanted to initially get out there at this time of day and have a little quick panel discussion.
Well, here's one of the things that I just looked up. They do not need a license to fly a paraglider or experimental aircraft, but it does have to be registered with one of two governing bodies, the HGFA, Hang Gliders Federation of Australia, or the Recreational Aviation Australia.
Can I just pause for a minute? Drone Down Productions, I want you to come in because that's Tim, and Tim is involved in this. So let's get Tim in if we can. Tim, I don't know what device you're using. If you're using a computer, please use Chrome or please use Firefox. If you're using an iPhone, there's an app called Wirecast Go. So that's what I'd love to have you come and join. And if you want to talk to me back channel on my messenger, I'm happy to use that as a method of getting you in here as well.
Okay, I need to run for a second. I'll be right back. I just got paged.
You do that.
All right. Okay.
Geek Sylvania is saying if you're trying to get them on flying cargo, then it would not be technically an airline. Wouldn't it then technically be an airline? Similar to the Google drones being rated as an airline, etc.
Okay, so again, experimental. It would have to be a registered aircraft and not an experimental aircraft for them to get him on that.
Do you require experimental aircraft to be registered?
No.
Okay, well.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. Look, here, just let me give you the pub test for a minute, the intelligence test. It was over water. It was done without people around. There was no one else's safety being impeded. And
the drone was in control.
The drone was in stable flight. The fact that there was a person below it is immaterial. It was in stable flight.
Now that with the FAA's rules would be a problem because you can't fly over unprotected people. But
someone directly involved in the operation of the aircraft, you can. Absolutely can.
That's true.
So drone down iPhone you're using. So install an app called Wirecast Go. Once you've done that, the link that I'll share the link again. And with that, click that link, but don't click it from within YouTube app. You've got to cut and paste that link into Safari and then it will work.
He says he's got it.
Okay. While we're waiting for him to join, let me play it one more time because we've had a few more people join and you and I can talk about it over the top. How's that sound?
Yeah.
We'll let him join.
And I look for the controller if you can.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to find the controller.
Okay. Okay. Which doesn't really matter. It's being controlled. That's obvious.
Yeah. So I've looked at this video many, many, many times, and we actually had the team who was doing this on our channel as a guest once before. So it says you can't join. Okay. Do you want to call me on Messenger? Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to quickly disconnect the rendezvous and restart it just to make sure that he has a chance of getting in here. So you guys are going to need to rejoin. Sorry about that. You'll rejoin right back in. Okay, I'll be back shortly. Okay, and you're back. Tim, I've just restarted that again. So you should be able to join fairly easily, I hope. Didn't kill him too. Fishing without a license. I love that comment. That is so...
Not bad, good choice.
Did I see which? Okay. I can't easily do that with the way I'm playing the video today. I can play it again later. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Okay, you two talk about it while I try and get him on here. We're having challenges, so...
Okay.
I'm going back in the YouTube
Yeah.
to watch it again is what I'm doing. And I don't see anything.
You're right, Thomas.
Okay, he's going up in the air. A Victoria VB, whatever that drink is, I don't know.
Victoria Bitter.
Okay.
It's a beer.
All right.
Here we go. We've got the man. Let's add him into the conversation.
Is this Tim Robinson?
It is very, very small.
Now, the guy definitely has the remote controller in his hand. But why is he hiding himself?
That better?
That's better. We gotcha.
Cool.
Can I just get you to do an audio check? Make sure you're going out.
What happened?
I'll show you something.
Can you turn your phone sideways for us? Is that possible? Why isn't that coming up here? Hang on.
See that?
Yeah, here's the thing. Your video is not coming up here. Let me just see if I can do it another way. Hang on. There we go. I'm going to cut the other guy. Yeah, but the airlines are licensed and they fit into that category. It's a nice throwaway line, but let's just quickly go back over some of the comments. This simply looks like police gross overreaction. What threat does this pose to the public? Can I jump onto that comment and say, look, at the end of the day, laws and regulations and rules are designed to have objectives. The objective is to prevent accidents, to prevent incidents. Now, if that's true, and there was no accident, there was no incident, they took precautions and they flew in an appropriate manner, why is it that CASA would raid his house, but the same organisation would refuse to take action against someone who shot down a drone out of the air?
Exactly. Yeah. And that is a much more dangerous situation because the drone could have fallen on an innocent bystander or anything, whereas these people took precaution.
This has happened twice. This has happened twice in Australia, right? And CASA has twice decided not to take action. And there's no excuse for one of them. One of them, the person was in jail for firearms offences, but the same person also committed aviation offences where they shot the drone out of the air.
Yeah.
So they decided not to prosecute. But the same CASA goes and has a look at this guy who's doing something that's planned, strategized, well rehearsed, done in what they believe is a safe manner. And I tend to agree with them. They're not endangering other people and they want to go after him.
Yeah. Well, it's because they're making this.
Well, let's look at it.
It's a bigger splash. I mean, this is a bigger splash. Going after some guy, some redneck with his gun shooting down a drone. Okay, that's the greater offense, but it's not as big of headlines as getting a guy flying over these people. Look at all these people down here below that are endangered. Even though everybody there was directly involved with what was going on. But they don't.
That's what I'm saying. They're part of the crew. You don't have to have paperwork.
Yeah.
And well, see, now our laws state that. I don't know if yours obviously do too. I'm sure they do.
Sorry, could you say that again? Laws state what?
State that those involved in the crew are exempt.
In other words, they're part of the crew. So like here in the U.S., if a person is directly involved with the flight of the drone or the vehicle, the air vehicle in question, the aircraft, yes.
I knew there was a word there. The Alzheimer's is getting to me.
It is, man.
Well, we're trying not to call it aircraft because it's an unmanned aerial vehicle, a UAV.
Well,
the UAV
is it a UAV or is it an experimental aircraft? And I'll go back and I'll say it's an experimental aircraft.
Right.
And a UAV is an aircraft anyway.
Now, what about your rules about 30 meters from anybody? Is that negated when they're part of the crew?
That's what we're trying to get to. Yeah, that's what I was trying to ask.
Yeah. And again, to avoid, as a defense, if I was them and I was planning this before I went and put the aircraft in the air, I'd get the person in the chair. Okay, are you going to be my visual observer? Are you trained? Are you in radio communication? Are you going to scan the sky looking for other aircraft? And if you've met all of those criteria, you're an appropriate visual observer and you're allowed by law to be within 30 meters of the drone.
Right. Okay, that's what he was asking. Are they allowed by law?
They are. And in a court of law, they could argue that very, very easily. But again, as a preventative measure, I would have recorded a video saying that. And that would be my way of avoiding the question. But anyway.
And now you still have the people there. Obviously, they're friends, and they're going to say they were part of it with you. Okay, so Cardoso writes, in Canada, it's 30 meters
30
for
meters
people
from people.
unless involved with the flight. And they were all involved with it.
By the way, Lloyd, could you do me a favor? Can you also be searching Twitter for comments to put up? If you just
I'm
search for the
sorry.
hashtag #AusByDrone.
Yep.
I don't know how many people. We're simulcasting on Twitter today, so if anyone wants comments to go up on the screen, if you use the hashtag #AusByDrone, we'll get Lloydie to go and search for them as well.
Hashtag OzByDrone, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or just type in OzByDrone even without the hashtag, and that should be fine. I saw someone trying to come in. Jeff Sills, you were trying to get in before, but you came and then you disappeared. Do you want to click on that link? And I'd love to have your opinion as well. The news guy.
He says CASA wants to go after the pilots and not the general public. Referring to the shooting incident, I guess, and versus this.
So while you do that, I'm going to queue up the video one more time, and I'm going to see if I can get it to the point where, and you guys mentioned it before,
he's standing off on the right side in a white suit.
cover. Yes. Let me see if I can just air that little bit.
Huh.
Let's do that.
Now, Chris Hope says there was more than one drone in the air. Did anybody see that?
Very possibly. So they would be, if you have a look at other parts of the video, they're taking footage of the drone from the air. And let's just quickly go to that segment there. Let's play that one. Right, so we're watching this from another drone. So if we're watching that from another drone, here's my question.
Right.
Again, I'm not going to try and play defense or prosecution, but who's flying which drone? The guy in the white suit. We don't know who he is. How can they prosecute him? All we know is that the video was published on a certain channel.
Now, I don't see another drone in the air. Just saying.
Yeah, but I just played that clip a minute ago. Right, this is from being shot from another drone.
Okay.
Yeah. It's being shot from another drone. So,
I'm just trying to search for possible violations, and I'm having a rough time.
Okay, let me go back, and I'll see if I can get you guys to go and help me out here. Civil Aviation Act 1988, Division 3.29. Now, it has two subpoints. Operates the owner or operator or hirer of the aircraft commits an offence if he or she, point A, operates the aircraft or permits the aircraft to be operated. So someone either did it or permitted it, and subpoint B, the operation of the aircraft results in one of the following two things. Either A, the use of the aircraft of an aerodrome in contravention of a condition specified under Section 20. So this is the use by the aircraft of an aerodrome. So it's not an aircraft of an aerodrome. So there's probably a definition of that phrase. But they didn't take off or land at an airport. They're not associated with an airport, so it's not a licensed aircraft. So let's cut that one out. And then subpoint 2, the other way, the aircraft being flown or operated in contravention of a provision of this part or other than subsection 20A1, 23(1), or of a direction given or condition imposed under such provision. Bloody, 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 blah.
Geek Sylvania is asking, would the word cargo be the key? Tim mentioned it, and I think the license, etc., are much tighter. Is it considered cargo in an experimental craft or a UAV?
Is the person who is on a paramotor cargo?
I say no.
Yeah, I don't need. I agree. I think this. The only thing I could find when I looked it up is that there are two governing bodies that require on experimentals the one of two, either the hang gliders or the recreational aviation. RAA or HGFA are the governing bodies, but this is being done by CASA. So, you know, and this is for Australia. I looked it up for Australia. Let's see. You need this covered to legally fly in Australia. Yeah, you have to have an HGFA for paramotors. An HGFA hang gliding ocean license. Yes. Yeah.
I was just trying to see if Jeff was available to come on. He's not. He would have been cool to have a chat about this.
Oh, he doesn't want to be on the same panel with me. I know how it is.
Well, you know how it is. People see you, Lloyd, and they run away. Here's what we're going to do.
Generally.
We'll ask Geeks Varner. I'm going to personally invite Geeks Varner. Can you come on for a minute? I know
You
it's
have
late
that
for
effect on people, Lloyd.
Yeah. Hey, but my campaign is moving right along. I gave away 4 buttons today at the doctor's office.
Hang on. Can I mute you? No political. There we go. That's better. He's gone. We can't hear him. Okay, he's back. Ah, I love having the power. Geeks Varner, do you want to jump in? Oh. Lloyd, this started as a hot news item and you've degraded the whole thing.
My apologies. It is a hot news item.
Let
Geeks
me
Bonus says give him 5 to boot up.
Okay. While that's happening, let me just ask the question in the chat room. Is there anyone who hasn't seen the video in its entirety who needs to see it or who wants to have a look at the photograph of the raid in progress?
I've seen it, but I think what Cardosis says is he thinks the problem is the amount of people watching at the edge of the water. There are a lot of people which I can see how they can say it could be dangerous should something go wrong. You know.
Okay. So let's watch that again and ask a simple question. How far away are they at the point where that would happen? Right? During the actual takeoff and landing.
Geek Sylvania says he's rebooting. Give him time and he'll come on.
Okay. Let me just rewind it to that point. Oops, helps if I go and put that shot live. So if we have a look here, the aircraft's taking off. There's a person in the background behind it there. I would say that person's involved in the operation of the aircraft, part of their safety crew. Very easy.
Where? Is it going up on Facebook?
It'll be on YouTube in a second.
Facebook.
I'll play that bit again. I just want to have a look at that again, the actual takeoff. And watch at the beginning. There's one person in the right-hand corner there who's even got some...
Yeah, she's got the the
sticks.
Sticks, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for
So
direction.
That person is there. I'll turn the music off. We don't need to hear that again.
Use them on a flight line to direct an aircraft, left, right, center, stop. If you cross them, it means stop.
So I have no problem with that whatsoever.
You see her right there on the right.
Yeah.
And then you've got the guy in the chair. Now, do
me
you see
see.
anybody else around within 30 meters? I don't. Well, right there, I don't.
Let me look a little bit further.
What could...
So we get to here. That's more than 30 meters away at that point.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Is that a second drone on the ground to the right of him? Don't know, but we do know that a drone took these shots. And don't forget, you have the camera crop.
Okay, there you can see more people standing there.
Yeah, but that's a long way away.
Right. Even here. And I suspect that all of these people were involved probably in some stage or another with the,
Now,
what,
during the landing, the few people that are there, you got the guy with the sticks, you got a couple of people that are involved in the operation. Let me rephrase it. There's no general public.
Right.
yeah. I suspect everybody there was
Oh,
involved.
look, they even have a tether line to bring them back in.
Did they?
Should something go wrong, there was a tether line there.
Yeah.
Let me bring that near the end.
And you can see no one around the aircraft when it's landing.
I don't think that's the tether line. That's the harness line to him.
No, there was a tether line out to the ground.
Out to the chair to the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just go back a little bit.
I believe it was red. You can see it.
That was a worthwhile comment right there.
What was the comment? I don't see a problem. It might void the warranty of the chair that he used.
Well said, Steve Mack.
Let's try this again. Here we go.
They're using an X8 too.
So I'll play that again. I could only see the fishing line down below. It's the fishing line.
All right, I'll have
there's
to
no
point
red
this
tether.
out to you.
Yeah. Okay.
There-
Yeah. And
Okay, I've got Geeks Varna wanting to come in. Let me go take care of that.
all right.
And we'll point out to you when we see the tethered line to the ground that is able to bring him back in.
Let me just add Sean. There we go. Okay, your mic's not hot yet and your picture is not there yet, so give me a moment. Change source C, Sean.
Yeah, it's the GoPro shot from his hat that is looking back at the participants.
Have you got a timestamp?
No. You got the video.
I thought you had it as well. Let me go back. So the GoPro shot from his hat.
From the guy fishing.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
He's looking back at the crowd, and there's a tether line to bring him back in.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yes, there is.
So they kind of covered a lot of the bases here.
You're right, because I actually ran the video backwards off of YouTube rather than try and see it through waiting for it to pop back up. But there is definitely a tether line going from it, because when that GoPro shot comes up, he looks down and you see a tether line. It's right after they do the zoom in on the fish, then they go to the GoPro shot.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, and
so Sean, you're a person who likes to comment on aviation laws and rules and things like that from what I've seen in the past. What do you want to say about this one? Okay. I'm getting a little bit of delay with your mic. I'm just going to add some delay in so that your lips can line up with. I don't know if that change worked. Can you talk again?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, there's an amazing YouTube delay.
Yeah, there's a bit of delay there. So you think the secret is the cargo reference?
And no audio from Sean.
Sorry, what?
They can't hear Sean.
They can't hear Sean?
Yeah, we can hear him.
Why is that?
YouTube can't hear him.
Okay. I am sorry, Sean. This was after
Do you
who
need
was
me,
in there before.
Craig? Do you need me to pop out? Would that help?
No, it's all right. My bad. I have fixed it thusly. Start again, Sean. Welcome.
Hey, I'm hoping my lip syncing is working. So we actually got the lip syncing to work without them hearing it. Actually, so there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the word cargo might be the crux from the point of view of again, this isn't necessarily my opinion as to whether I think he's done anything wrong, but more from the point of view of it's easier to prosecute once they start talking about cargo and therefore then commercial entities.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Certainly in this country, it would be much easier. And in the US and in Australia.
Let me ask you this then, Sean. To prosecute under the cargo laws in the US, in the UK, sorry. To carry cargo, you have to have a certain class of license with a certain class of aircraft that's been registered and gone through the appropriate processes and all of those kind of things. You can't be a cargo carrier on a paramotor.
Yes. Exactly. So therefore, if you attempt to move cargo without a license, you would then be in breach of the air navigation orders. But that again, that's only where I think if they are using the word cargo, where they could potentially be going along because they're trying to make it easier for themselves to prosecute.
So let's pick an example. If I was on a Cessna and I had a can of drink in my pocket, I'm carrying cargo. It's I can see
but
why
you can say that about someone's luggage, etc., and that type of thing.
But yeah, I can see why they might want to try and do that. But I think it's going to be a tall stretch. If that ever went to court, there's no way that any sane-minded person would say that's cargo.
Although in the US, I believe it's in the US and in Australia, they have started to designate the drone superhighways of Alphabet, etc., as airlines. They're licensing them as airlines, which again tells me that someone somewhere has said legally that's how they have to be, rather than just some kind of new drone delivery system. They're actually technically airlines. No. The difference is that they're getting exemptions to certain requirements flying over people based on their agreement to certain rules at that point. Yes, but the higher end legal framework that would have to be put into place to register them as airlines might give federal authorities an easier line to register as an airline
if they if I give you the example of a normal drone pilot in Australia, if I want to fly within the standard operating conditions, I don't have to get a REPL license in Australia. If I want to fly outside the standard operating conditions, I then must need to get an REPL and fly under an AROC and all of that kind of stuff. Same kind of thing here. If you want to fly an experimental aircraft, you don't need to necessarily go and get a pilot's license. You can fly under the provisions that exist there. Now, if they try and stretch that to say that this is cargo, I think that's a big stretch. And if that ever went to
Yeah.
court,
It's just a strange word to be on the documentation. So that
I haven't
was really
seen
just
that word.
my...
Unfortunately, I've seen only a small subset.
Yeah, when Tim was on, I think he mentioned the word cargo.
I asked him the question because we had that discussion.
That to me will be interesting. Whether or not it's reckless endangerment, it's difficult because you have to look at the thresholds for that. All of those people are there. They know what's going to happen. The drone pilot is in control. He can cut the thing off if it goes towards them, etc. You know, there's all the usual things that we all know about, the steps we can take to make that type of thing safe. Otherwise, we wouldn't be allowed to fly drones anywhere near anybody. Full stop. So it's very difficult, and it is an organized group. Yeah,
you have to wantonly do something reckless, and this was completely under control.
Indeed, because even when you look at things like full-on criminal cases, when they want to add reckless endangerment to things, they have to have a very high level of evidence, and it really does have to be literally, some psychopath running around with a gun or something, or a knife, or that is literally recklessly endangering people.
And if you look at this,
you can't see that here.
His GoPro.
So can I pause just for a minute, just for a brief second? I just ask people in the chat. Can you just type in the number 1 if you would like to see the video again, because other people have joined who weren't around at the beginning. Just type in 1 in the chat room if you want us to do that. And Lloyd, have we had anything on the Twitter feed at all?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No messages coming in at all.
Okay. So we'll wait just a few moments. If anyone wants to see the video one more time, I can get that up in a couple of moments.
Why don't you play it again anyway so we can review it? Because I think his hat, his GoPro from his hat indemnifies or is an actual help here to their case. He's showing how far away he is from the people on the ground.
Yeah,
that they have
a request from Agent K to play it again. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play it again now one more time.
Hi, Agent K.
I'll let you guys, by the way, I wish I knew what that other stuff after the K actually sounds like, but that's another story.
It would be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I'm going to go and play the video one more time. While it's playing, I'm going to go and get a drink quickly. I need a quick little something. So I'll be back. I'll play the video now.
Yes, sir.
The video is the only thing they could use against them. And he mentioned reckless. What was the other thing he mentioned besides reckless? Do you guys remember?
I think Thomas mentioned in the chat that Tim mentioned it about being within 30 meters of people.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Tomas. All right. Do you guys see the video?
Yes, I can see it in my background. Actually, I have my TV on in the background. I can see it just flying behind me.
There it is.
Yeah, and I'm watching it on his video too because I can see it behind him.
All right, so
move out the way a little bit.
There you go. Yeah, I can see better. Thank you.
No problem.
They showed the testing that they've done previous to this. Which I think would help their case anyway. Upper Cobain Reservoir. But it doesn't say no drone, so. Boy, that's a rickety chair.
Now, I've heard some discussion of the difference between this and the Casey Neistat stuff. But I think the Casey Neistat stuff is professional media, isn't it? So he would have got a lot of waivers and also permits which are required. I mean, he always makes it look like it's him and his GoPro, but there's a big old team behind those videos.
Not bad, good choice.
Is there any way that this reservoir could be part of the problem?
I don't think
Good
so.
point.
No, it's zoomed in, but when you see it from his GoPro in a second, here, you're going to see just how far away he is from everybody. They've got the tether line there. I don't know.
Reckless endangerment with champagne bottles. Someone might get hit by the cork.
You see her directing traffic with the sticks.
Yeah, that's right.
She did do that, so this thing was in control the whole time.
Yeah, look, it was definitely controlled, orchestrated, planned. That it was not a slap hazard kind of event.
What
No. Yeah.
what did they ever do to that TV show
Can I
that had
just
that
ask-
drone?
Yeah, can I just jump in? Casey also had a custom harness. I don't know if I'm in another universe. I know who Casey is, but he had a custom harness. What did he do?
Many things. One of the things he did was he actually dressed up as Santa Claus
Yeah,
and on
That's not the one.
skis,
the skiing
and he was
video.
then pulled along. He was then pulled along by the drone and lifted up by it, basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
So he's literally for parts of it, he's literally dangling below
Yeah.
whilst this drone flies him through the air. But as I say, I think the big difference there is that is a big production company. That video was sponsored, I think, by one of the big mobile phone manufacturers, and the permits would have they would have gained the permits, etc. That any kind of TV film crew would do.
Steve Mack asks a good question. Is it illegal to fish from a flying aircraft?
yeah,
It
but
depends. It depends. Grumpy, it depends if you're trying to catch flying fish.
Ah,
But
oh
I
my
didn't
God.
have that sound effect ready. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Cardoso. It was snowboarding rather than skiing. Thank you.
yeah,
So RC's fun diversions. Let's quickly recap. This happened. This video happened. We've just played it again. And the person in question who was in here before, Tim, said today his parents' house was raided and searched. And there was a search warrant. And then subsequently, they then went to his house and tried to come in and search his house as well. But guess what? They didn't have a warrant for that location. So he told them to go and get a warrant. So
And while he was
That we
talking
know.
to us, he had a knock on the door.
he had a knock on the door, right? And he hasn't come back.
Yeah.
No.
we're going to assume that they got that piece of paper.
Let's see. If I have a look at some messages over here. Who signed the document? A magistrate in and for the state of Victoria.
Based on the 30-meter rule and reckless endangerment.
30-meter rule, reckless and cargo. Let me just see
No,
where this magistrate is.
Does it say cargo on it? Because we said cargo.
Yeah,
No. He said cargo as well in his
Okay.
discussion.
Did he, Sean?
That brings up a good question. Sean Oz did a video today that was released. Did anybody see that? He made a delivery without a license.
Ooh, crikey.
Yeah, it was a tampon to his girlfriend, but he delivered it.
Excuse me?
Sean Oz, if you haven't seen his latest video,
Lloyd's been on the dark web again.
no, this was up. This is Sean Oz's regular video.
Lloyd has been going to places on the web that we don't want to go.
I think it's a fever dream.
No, I just cracked up. He tapes it to the front. Then she sends it back to him with a note that says, "Bring chocolate."
Cardoso says maybe because they were drinking alcohol, but you don't actually see anybody drinking alcohol.
No, the drinking starts after.
Right.
You see the champagne bottle come out afterwards.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I know what Cardoso means though, because I did think that myself. I did have that sort of half feeling in the back of my mind when I watched the video. Whether reckless endangerment is because the alcohol's there, or
Right. We're searching for anything. We're stretching.
Yeah. I wonder if it's if it excuse the pun, but I do wonder if it's actually a fishing expedition in itself. That they these warrants are really to try and find out as much information and gain evidence. Sorry, it was a bad pun as well.
By the way, I will share something with you. As soon as I saw this message come in from Tim, I called the CASA media liaison and I spoke to him and had a chat with him. Now, none of this is,
Official.
quotable stuff, not
Right.
official lines. But having said that, it felt like he wasn't aware of the specifics of what was happening today. He was aware that it was being investigated. Absolutely. He'd absolutely be aware of that. But I don't think he was aware that what was specifically happening today. But I'm going to guess that he's going to get a few media inquiries now.
Yes.
He did say that there was an investigation and they were trying to get information, to understand how to proceed. So at face value, it is a fishing expedition. Then I asked him the question. So if you've got a warrant, what is the specific charge that you would have that would substantiate probable cause to get a warrant? And I think it was fair that there was, hang on, I rewatched and there was a no fishing sign. Are you serious? That would be hilarious.
No, but he clearly stated reckless.
Yeah. Look, I asked about, what was the specific aviation legislation that was the subject of that warrant, and he wouldn't comment on that. So, it was kind of a no comment overall.
And Cardoso says it could just be simply an investigation looking into it further. But like everybody
said,
raid
to get the evidence.
Didn't they do the raid on what was it I saw a raid on here recently on Oz by drone? That was over about the guys that were going to fly their drones at the airport, and they pulled up in the vans and arrested those guys. But those guys
that was
idiots,
in the UK.
It was the UK. Yeah, those guys were idiots. So,
but let me ask you this, Lloyd: if you can get a warrant to search the house of the parents of the person flying, not the person flying, the parents of the person flying, that's a stretch by itself.
Why would you be searching the house? I don't get that. Why you guys do that? And they do that in the UK too. Remember they ruined that guy's life out of Heathrow?
Yeah, if they go in there and find that outfit that the Stig was wearing, I suppose that could help them.
Just pause for a minute. If they can get a warrant to search not the person who is involved, but the parents of the person involved, but they can't get a warrant. Hang on. They can't take the time to get a warrant for the guy that shot down the drone in the previous case that we were talking about earlier. So there were two cases in Australia, where drone pilots doing everything correctly. One of them was a real estate photographer, and he was photographing a property. He was above the property that he was photographing, and the neighbour didn't like it and thought someone was spying on him. And the next thing you know, the neighbour goes and shoots the drone out of the sky. CASA did nothing. And I repeatedly asked them, when are they going to do something? And I repeatedly asked them, oh, that's not a matter for us. Well, bullshit, it's not a matter for you, CASA. You either enforce your laws or you don't. And they said, oh, we've got to have it referred to us by the local law enforcement.
Well, there you
Was
go.
this referred to you by
it?
local? Who referred
Yeah.
this to your CASA? Why can you go and prosecute this guy, but you're not going to go and prosecute someone that's shooting a gun at an aircraft?
Which is illegal anywhere. Discharging a firearm is illegal anywhere.
Yeah, well, especially in Australia, that
back in
doesn't
1
even have
second.
guns. But the other thing is I will bet you anything that it was a YouTuber that wasn't getting many views turned it in. Somebody in Australia, an Australian YouTuber that was unhappy about it, and he's the one who turned it in. Because
okay, but you're still searching
CASA
a house.
Yeah,
why are you searching a house? Anybody's house. I don't care if it was I'm the drone operator. What are you doing searching my house? If I'm if I'm driving my car recklessly, you're going to give me a ticket or arrest me.
Yeah.
One of the two. You're not going to search my house, and you can't search my car without my permission. So
we don't have the same kind of house as a sacred place. We don't have that house as a sacred place kind of doctrine over here. If you've committed an offence, they can get a warrant to search your house, to have a look at your computer for communications between you and the other people participating in it. I would guess, and Tim said he will get back in touch with us, but I'm going to guess that they've said, give me your computer, give me your iPad.
Drone Shots wants to know the link to the video.
One
thing as well I'm wondering on this is whether two things really. Sorry, one thing is actually two things. Firstly, I do wonder if they have taken the case to your version of the Crown Prosecution Service, and they have said if you have X, Y, and Z, we will formally charge them and prosecute, and that's why they're going into these houses to find these things. And secondly, that perhaps what they're looking to find is intent. As you just said about taking the computers, taking communication between these people. If they
can't
can
arrest
find
someone on intent. If
if they can find emails that admit to the fact that they knew what they were doing could be illegal, that what they knew were doing could be construed that way. I'm not agreeing with this. I'm just stating that could be what they're doing.
No,
and then that extra intent comes into it. Then that could give them enough to charge them.
To support what you're saying, they were wearing white outfits and covering their faces.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
they certainly knew there was a.
Which part of the footage gives them the information that this is who you're going for?
None of it. Unless you're going after the guy in the chair.
Unless there's communication, emails on their computers saying, "Okay, I'm going to dress up as the Stig." So
hang on. Pause, guys, pause.
They wrote the warrant first.
The warrant words say is reasonably suspected of having committed the offences stated in the warrant accompanying this order. Now, I don't have all of the pages of the warrant. I've got some of it, but regardless of that, how can you reasonably suspect a person of having done something if you can't even see who it is that's flying it?
What was Tim actually mentioned in the credits? Because I know there's credits.
It doesn't say who did what.
Right. Okay.
So then all of them are going to be arrested. Correct? If you're going to issue one warrant, you got to issue 10.
Let me get
Otherwise,
the video to the credits.
What we call a fishing expedition, and it would be thrown out on that alone.
Yeah, no, indeed. Is Tim seen in the video at all?
I think he's the one in the seat, isn't he?
That's what. Who's in the chair? I don't know.
I can't remember. I really can't. I think
it was Tim.
All right, play it back, Greg.
Play which bit back? You want the whole thing?
Who's in the chair? Because you can't see who is piloting the aircraft. You cannot see that.
It says on the credits the pilot is the Stig.
And obviously the girl was doing the flight control signaling. She was the signalman.
I noticed that Tim's name isn't on there.
Isn't that interesting?
So could they be saying,
Ah,
hang
there's
on, the
something
only
interesting. I
person
just
not...
happened to get to a blurred out piece of footage. I just happened to get there. I don't know how and why, but I don't know what's in there, but is that blurred out?
Is that Tim on the left?
Yes. It looks like him
So-
on the left.
So he's not the stick. Is that blurring alcohol on the lens?
Yeah, that's
I
from
think that's
the,
more likely, yeah, from the...
the champagne.
I think one of the biggest points here is that we're all sort of looking at it and saying, okay, and we've all got a lot of life experience and legal experience, and from all of our different corners of the globe, and we're all sat here trying to guess what they're actually going for, and they're actually raiding houses, which is a big, you would expect. I mean, even with the Gatwick thing, when the wrong couple got raided,
Right.
at least you could see they thought it was them. They got the wrong information, of course, catastrophically. So they thought they would go in and obviously try and get the drones, hopefully with the data on there showing that they were flown in that area. You could at least see an A to B to C, but here they seems to be jumping from A to Z without much in between, which is strange, because you can see that he's in all likelihood not going to be the pilot.
Yeah, if you watch the whole video, one of the things, which I just looked at, you see where they tried and failed, not just the shot of them flying, but the whole, you see where they crashed the first drone into a tree, and all the different trials and errors they go through.
Right.
If you watch the whole video. And I don't know that the one I just put up there is because I found another one, and I'm trying to get to a third one here, but the other one is probably the more official one that that you had, Greg, that had, because you had to go to a different downloads or a different site to get it, But
yeah, so let me see if I can find that video. I'll just take myself off screen for a minute and let you continue to chat. I'll be back.
Still, even you have to have, in order to get a warrant, you have to have evidence and proof to a judge in the first place.
Just look that up, actually.
Is what I'm saying. And so you're saying that there was more than one video out there, Lloyd?
No, I just that there's the official complete video, and then there's some that's been edited a little bit. But the one video that is put up by UAV Me, or UAV Me, CAU.com.au. That's the video that shows where they're experimenting with it and all of that, not just the drone flight. Drone DJ actually had, that's the original, yes.
Yeah.
And then somebody posted it on Facebook. If you go watch the whole thing, it shows how they build it, what they've gone through, the trial and errors and the weight test and all of that. And, it shows how they make progress. Yeah. And Drone DJ actually has that link. Let me see if I can get the actual link to the show video URL. There we go. Okay. Here is the video URL for anybody who wants to see the whole thing. I think.
Yeah, because I'm going to go open that. Although,
let me make sure. Yeah, that should be it. I'm trying to see if it does, or if that's just the one we've been seeing. Yeah, no, this is no one in the world sells it. Yeah,
that's the Mr. Russ.
Yeah, that's Mr. Russ. Yeah. Yeah, that if you watch that, that's the whole thing there. So there's also a link on Facebook here that shows it as well.
Yeah. And that's in a wide open, they're doing that testing in a wide open area. In fact,
Right.
it's fenced in.
Well, it's getting late Sorry, go, Sean.
What's your experience on the search warrant side of things? So I was just looking up a piece of advice from a Victoria criminal lawyer that was actually stating that to gain a search warrant for a premises, they actually have to have reasonable grounds for believing that they will find the evidence of the offence on the premises or in the vehicle, which makes you think that they somehow think that for some strange reason, obviously in within their investigation, that the parents would have the evidence they require. And perhaps they've then gone on to his house because they didn't find it, frankly.
Right. Did they assume he lived at home with mom and dad?
You don't know if it was bad intelligence.
That's the Facebook link there.
And then again, you're going to a judge asking for a warrant based on reckless and all that. That's got to only be coming from the video they posted. What else would they have?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you could have. I suppose there could be other evidence out there from questioning people, etc. You don't always know what's happened in the background, but for a warrant, apparently in Victoria, you do actually have to demonstrate that you believe that you actually have to list to the magistrate what you believe you're going to find.
That makes sense to me. Well, are they looking for the drone itself?
Perhaps.
Well, if I was the AFP or CASA, I'd be looking for the original footage. I'd be looking for email communications, trying to find whatever I can. It's a fishing expedition, pardon the pun yet again. We know it's a fishing expedition. But on
which
the actual
normally
warrant,
doesn't lead to a warrant.
Yeah, I know. Reasonably suspected of having committed offences.
And they have to believe they will find evidence of that offence on the premises or in the vehicle.
Yeah.
Ah, here we go.
Now, this is at the Upper Colaban Reservoir. No, that still doesn't go with reckless and 30 meters and cargo.
Flying with an open container is the best they can get him on.
And how do we know what was in it?
Yeah,
indeed.
Now,
and that's always been the problem with YouTube, hasn't it? With any kind of prosecution from a YouTube video alone would be very, very difficult because with editing, with everything else, that shot of Stig with the controller could have been from a different day, but they've edited it in. There's every shot could have been from a different time they went out and flew that thing. So it's so hard.
Who's to say that the person in that suit is actually piloting it anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that you can't prove any of that. And how you get
it was a cute idea to use the Stig, in the same get up as the Top Gear show. That was cool.
Yeah.
Normally,
I would potentially be concerned that does show that what you're doing is potentially wrong.
Wouldn't you have to state what you're
comedic
going
effect?
after?
Yeah, so without going into, I don't want to talk about the content of the paperwork that's been shared to me because I haven't been given authority to go into that level of detail. But it's reasonable to assume the warrant would be specific enough to to look for a computer or multiple computers or memory cards or internet access or something along those lines. And the police probably had reasonable grounds to suspect the computer was at the parents' house, but they were obviously wrong.
Yes. Sorry, my little chuckle there was Steve Mack saying the chair had a sticker saying not intended for use on experimental aircraft. Just made me chuckle. I don't think so, no. But it just made me chuckle. Because that's the kind of detail we're looking for, isn't it? We're looking for something so minute. Because the offense isn't so obvious. It's kind of one of those things where you watch the video and you think, oh, okay. You either watch it and you think that's fun, or they're idiots, or but either way, you can't really see anything that if you had to tie something down, they're doing this wrong. It's very, 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 very difficult.
Right.
Yeah. And they're saying that it's in the chat that it said Stig equals the pilot in the credits. So
yes, good point, Thomas.
Yeah.
So they do in there admit things, but again, they could turn around and say the whole thing is entertainment. It's just it's theater. So even the credits aren't real.
Yeah. Editing.
You've also got to prove if this was ever in a court of law that it was not photoshopped.
Exactly.
Now, Cardoso says, yeah, you might want to see all the footage to make sure no laws were broken. But remember, you have to present something to a judge written in a warrant in order to get the warrant in the first place.
You're making an assumption, Jim. That is in the United States, yes, but is it the same in Australia?
Yes.
And is it the same in the UK?
I looked up in Victoria, in the state of Victoria.
Okay.
There's one document I found online from a Victoria criminal lawyer that says that the police have to show that they believe, and they even have to list the evidence they think they're going to find at the premises.
Oh, okay.
Before they can go in, before they get a warrant.
I heard you say that before, but then it's like,
yes.
I mean, because
I forgot what I said 5 minutes ago.
Otherwise, you wouldn't even need a warrant. If it was that open, you wouldn't even need a warrant. They could just come knock on your door and come in and search anytime they wanted.
Exactly.
No. You have to state in a warrant what you want and where it is. And they have to have that based on other evidence. And the only thing they can have is the video, unless, like you were saying, part of that crew decided to turn on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a quick little pause. Let's have a quick little pause so that we make sure we don't just sit here gas bagging too long. I want to get specific questions from the audience that they would like the panel to comment on. So in the chat room, if you've got a question, just type it in and we'll try and comment on that. Again, what happened? There was a raid at Tim's house. That's a photo of his house being raided. Thunderbird is saying they obviously hired the van. Yeah, Thrifty are not sponsoring the video, but that's their van to go and pick up whatever it was.
Really? They rented a van?
We don't have a police department in every single town corner, unlike some parts of the world.
Well, all of our police departments have their own vehicles to do that with, even in the outlying counties.
Yeah, okay.
You
So if they have a van, they're looking for the drone.
No, they're looking for computers. They're not looking for the drone. Yeah.
It looks like a people carrier type van rather than a storage van, doesn't it? Because it has the windows going down the side. So I'm not sure how much it's there for storage. One thing that Cardoso Media says, which is he says, "Yup, unless a bystander reported it." There were a lot of people there. Yeah, there's a lot of people there that could watch the video and afterward think, actually, I was in danger.
Unlikely.
Yeah.
Okay. But that unlikely, that small percentage of chance does increase the more people that are there.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that all of the people there were involved in the operation of the drone in some way, shape, or form?
Yes, but could one of those people have decided, for whatever reason, that they were no longer happy that it was
an
safe?
ex-girlfriend?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Look,
Timeless Sleuth says capacity of a drone. What about the drone weights?
Let me just mute myself.
We have 55 pounds over here. Does that fly with anybody on the panel? Can we mute Greg? No.
No, he's in charge.
But you know that doesn't also fit in the category of reckless or 30 meters from a person. So,
Well, but the reckless thing, if a member of the crowd has gone against them, you could have a situation where that becomes a reckless thing. You know, it's
yeah, Mike says as long as they can convince a judge
Yeah.
that the evidence can be obtained, sure. But what's the evidence? He said it would be the computer.
Greg. I don't know if you can hear us, but you are not muted. Just to let you know,
He's
No, he
not
can't hear
hearing
us.
us. Yeah.
I bet he thought he muted
He
himself.
thinks he thought he muted himself. We can hear you, Greg.
We hear everything you say, Greg.
Yeah, but it's muted from YouTube, so that's all that mattered.
Oh, okay.
You could hear me, but they couldn't.
Yeah, well, we couldn't have a decent discussion while you were yapping your jaw off.
I'm sorry. I forgot to send the mic to the live feed, and I set it to the direct to my mic. I'll fix that. There you go.
Right, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Art Code
Well,
says, what
now
kind
that
of
you're
blow-up
back,
There you go.
a little late now.
Where
Anything
were we?
over 25 kilograms here in Canada requires a special flight operation certificate.
That's
Thunderbird says you were muted online, so that's okay.
Yes, I know.
But
Yeah.
that's not what they put in what that we know of. It's not what they put in the warrant.
no,
Yeah.
that's right.
Artco, what kind of
It's a good
lure was
point,
he
but yeah.
using? He was using a drone to lure in CASA, and he caught them.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody caught somebody. Yeah. So
Didn't somebody say the fish was already gutted or something?
Oh, come on. You know that the fish has already, come from the fish shop. They're not going to actually keep the drone out there long enough to go and find one. It's
Hey, they could
entertainment.
get that lucky.
yeah.
Oh, come on. Now, next you're going to say Santa Claus isn't real.
Don't
T-Bird
bust
says he
bubbles
can.
here.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I think I'm ready to wrap this up. We've still got 26 people watching. So,
Yeah. I
I'm-
know.
yeah. No,
But-
let's wrap it up. I think we've called it. I'm
I
going
was
to do
gonna say,
this to
I've-
finish off.
I was going to have to get off anyway. So
Look,
Yeah,
to
same.
finish off, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the video one last time and do a quick recap summary and say goodbye to everyone. Let's just quickly do that now.
Everybody look for
Rewind the video.
something reckless or within 30 meters of people.
I did see one thing that caught my eye when I was looking at that. And you'll see it coming here pretty
I love
soon.
the audio in the background. You can hear, holy
Yeah.
shit, in the background.
Yeah.
What?
This-
Whoops.
What about the credit at the beginning there where it said no one had built a human lifting machine, so we built our own?
Well, who cares?
But you're saying why you built it. They're not saying, it just so happens that our drone can lift a person.
Well, someone had built aircraft in general before and they're human lifting machines. It's just creative license that.
This
Yeah.
is not the one they used either. They used
Human lifting drones accepted.
there, see? This one's got double the motors on it.
It's a nice drone.
I mean, maybe they could get them on copyright infringement on the music.
Copyright strike.
Yeah. Copyright strike. Yeah.
Now, what's on all those don't do this, don't do that sign?
Already way past there.
Yeah,
Yeah. We're going to have to go, all of us go through this and look at it, frame by frame and kind of.
When it takes off, those people are closer than 30 meters.
It does look like it originally.
Now, right here in this shot coming up from his, when they do the
GoPro.
shot from the GoPro, watch this. All right,
See the tether?
maybe it was. Or it might be further up when they show the crowd standing around, because I thought I saw a little girl in there, you know, like a kid sitting there playing with something, but
Fully controlled all the way down. Stable.
Okay, he is the Stig. Tim is the Stig.
Prove it.
All I can say is thanks to everyone.
If
and
you go
yibbida
back,
yibbida,
if you
that's
can,
all, folks.
and pause it on the Stig, you can see his T-shirt with the lettering that his T-shirt's got on underneath the Stig's outfit. You can clearly identify the T-shirt that Tim's got on when he's doing the champagne through the see-through hazmat suit type thing that the Stig's got on.
And how
You can
many
see
of
the
those shirts
lettering.
were ever produced?
Yeah, but how many of the people there? You know, he's
how many
then
of
in
the
the
people
next
there
shot.
had it? Yeah,
He's then in the
Yeah.
next shot wearing the T-shirt. That's reasonable cause, which would then give
Right.
them the warrant, in my opinion.
yeah, that's why they
Mm.
went after him in
So
particular.
then I think they've gone in there looking for that outfit.
How many?
And
how many
I wonder
controllers?
if Tim's dad is a decorator or something by trade that would have those suits around.
How many
Not that
controllers?
you're ever going to find the same one.
How many controllers were used in the making of this film? The Stig,
However,
May
the
have been
credits
potentially
state the Stig is the pilot.
the pilot
Yeah,
of
The
what?
credits say he is the pilot.
The
when
pilot
you
of what?
freeze
The pilot of
Stig
the other
photo,
drone looking down. I mean, the whole thing is all
he's
supposition.
the pilot. I don't think there's any any court in the world would accept that. They would accept that where it says the pilot, the Stig, that
Yeah.
he is the pilot of that drone, not
Right.
associated. You know, and as I say, when you look at that picture, you can clearly see the lettering of his T-shirt
It's
underneath. In my
entertainment.
opinion,
I'm going to disagree with you. It's entertainment 100%. And there were two drones in the air. We've already discussed that. We've already talked about that.
We do
Which
know there were
drone
two-
was the Stig flying? He was
yes.
possibly.
All I'm saying is, I think that's what gave them the warrant.
Yeah, I
In
I
my
would
opinion,
agree with
that
Sean
would
on
be
that.
Enough. That would be enough to give them the warrant to go into his parents' house.
Is he
Especially
the
if
only
he found
one?
out.
Is he the only one, or did multiple people get searched here?
So his parents at the moment we know about, and beyond that, his house, there was a knock on the door. We know that.
Yeah,
So he's the only one that a warrant was put out on.
That we know of at this time.
Yeah, we know.
Right.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, it's time to shut down for now. It's been good chatting. The final recap. The video was made. There was a knock on the door at Tim's parents' house. Someone came. There was no computer home because Tim doesn't live there. Then the police went off to Tim's house. Tim said, no warrant, no searchy, go get warrant. And then as we were talking to him, he had a knock on the door. Those are the things
Which
that
by
we do
that
know at the
time I would
moment.
have cleaned out my house, but okay.
Burn the thing down.
I'd have got a bigger van than they had.
All they have to do is watch Hillary. She knows all about bleach bit.
This
Just
video was buffering a little bit at times. So I will upload a clean copy of this afterwards. And apologies for the buffering. So see how it goes. I'll check it out. If it's good enough, I'll leave it. If not, I'll put another one up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of our little panel today. And we'll talk about this again on Oz by Drone on the weekend. Interesting topic. Anyway,
Definitely.
thanks. See you later. Bye for now.